It's a nice deep trunk. It's kind of like a bathtub. I think I could... Oh, well, hey, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be going over one of my favorite cars of all time and one of the first manual transmissions that I ever actually had a chance to drive. So whenever I was getting into car sales, my boss had a 2000 S2000 with 255,000 miles on it. This dealership is where I bought my first 2006 BMW 3 Series. It's what made me fall in love with BMW. So the S2000 has a very special place in my heart. There were two different generations that have kind of gone as time has gone on with the car. This is an AP2 model, which gets some different revised styling, some different engine kind of layouts. So the biggest thing you're going to notice is this front bumper here is a little bit more tapered in. You get these extra style lines. The front mouth of the car is a little bit more pinched in as well. And then the engine, the biggest thing is the engine. And some people are take it or leave it on it. Some people love it, some people hate it. After driving both cars, I personally like the AP1 a lot better than the AP2. The biggest difference is the 9,000 RPM redline on the S2000 AP1. The AP2 has an 8,800 RPM redline. It still screams, but it doesn't have that like punchy in the face kind of feeling. It's 240 horsepower. Once that VTEC kicks in, you're pretty much staying in VTEC the entire time that you're driving this car. If you've ever driven this, it's not fast with 240 horsepower, but it is just phenomenally well handled and well balanced. There's no other word for it other than piss missile. It's a phenomenal car. On the inside of this car here, this is a 55,000 mile model of this vehicle. 56,688 miles on it. It's got a digital display. It was one of the first kind of mainstream cars that actually featured a start-stop button on the interior. So it still has the traditional key. Basically, you turn the key over and then you just press the start-stop button with the clutch pressed in and the car turns on. Why don't we turn it on real quick? Gosh, it is so cool. I already did get the car warmed up, so I'm gonna get you a couple little schmap paps. It's just so rowdy. It just loves to just scream, and I love this car. The transmission is very, very notchy and very fun, but we'll get into that a little bit more as we get a little bit farther back in the video. You guys know that I have to see exactly how I fit in the trunk of this thing. So you do need to get into the center console. It's a bit quirky. I'll show you that a little bit later as well to open the trunk, but there's just a little button. Instead of having a glove box, you have a weird kind of center console thing, kind of like how the Miata does. It's very delicately put that on the ground there. And it's a nice deep trunk. It's kind of like a bathtub. I think I could... and about 135 pounds, and you could fit me comfortably in the trunk of an S2000. I wasn't expecting to do this when I came to work today, but I would say, as a previous owner of two NA 1.6 Miatas, this trunk is better. The nice thing about it going so deep is that if you need to get something big like a carry-on or something like that down in there, you could probably even stack two small carry-ons on top of each other. S2000, for a freaking small little roadster convertible, 7.8 out of 10 as far as convertible trunks go. And this appears to be a top cover, so if you have the top down, you can actually set this over top. So it looks a little bit cleaner than just having a regular old S2000 top. It's so cool how well preserved this car is. This vehicle is available for sale at the dealership that I work at, BMW Cincinnati North, for about $28,000. That sounds expensive, but whenever you really start to take into account the pristine quality of this car, you're not gonna find another car in this condition. It looks like it's straight off the factory floor. So why don't we take it for a little drive? So every S2000 that I've ever seen has pretty much had... Hi, Editor Caleb here. Skip to 404. The camera's very smudged. If you don't want to watch the smudged camera, I do go over some of the interior stuff And the vehicle sold between now and whenever I recorded this, so this is all I got footage-wise. This same kind of style of interior, you've got these leather seats, the really cool looking manual transmission that just is so notchy and just slides into gear exactly as it should. Some people switch these into the Momo shift knobs. The setup and turning this car on feels like an adventure every single time that you do it. You just turn it on. It's a Le Mans style Porsche kind of setup with the start stop button over there on the left. It just feels like you're kind of celebrating an event every time that you turn it on. The ugly looking head unit, which is the original head unit, is hidden very safely behind this S2000 thing here. The interior of this car is so quirky, but it's incredibly driver focused with your climate control, which we're not going to be using, even though it is a very hot 91-degree day today. It works very well. It's not terrible, and it's actually kind of cool how it slides up and down. You can very quickly change it. It doesn't feel like you're moving your hands too far away from the shifter, and it's a really nice car. This one has a power top. I believe that my bosses at the old car lot that I worked at, oh goodness, hold on, back that up a little bit, and then we're just gonna press forward. There we go. Manual top openers. You just slide it forward, let it grab. Oh boy. There you go. Let it grab. You kind of help it along. I'll show you guys how this one goes over here. All right, so we're gonna lean it forward and then you just press, and then if you want to undo it, you just press this little nubbins here and you pull back and it slides out. It feels like you're playing with like an RC car or something. I don't know. It's nice. And then this was the little center console thing I was talking about earlier. So this is all the storage you could get. You could probably fit like 2 or 3 Coke cans in there. That's it. And then you've got your little trunk popper back here. The storage and the creature comforts are slightly better on the AP2, I would say, than my memory of the AP1. You've got these nice, like, kind of cool cup holders. Correct me in the comments if any of this is incorrect. The power top, the cup holders, this is really neat how they kind of just slide back and forth so that if you like the clean look, you can just press it once and have your cup holders available. I think this was fine. So let's take this thing on a little spin. I'm very, very excited. I've driven this car a couple times now. It just makes me smile. It's so big every single time. Even though it's the AP2, it still just drives so well. And it's not that fast. That was only 60. We're in Mexico. But you know, here in this Mexico sun, 60 miles an hour doesn't seem like it's too much. It's like it just, you get to run it through the gears without feeling like you're going to go to prison, which is just a really rare thing nowadays. Like most of the time with these cars that have 400 or 500 horsepower, you hit second or third gear and you're extremely breaking the law. This thing, you just run it through like second and third gear and just keep it right in VTEC going through some twisties. Right at about 5,500 RPMs, 5,600 RPMs, you feel VTEC kick in, and it just picks up like you're in a turbocharged car. The digital gauge cluster is an extremely cool car thing. This was from the best era of Honda, whenever they were doing the NSX with the pop-up headlights, the 89, oh my goodness, and 9,000 RPM redline on the AP1, and then a 8,800 RPM redline on the AP2. I believe that the AP2 had a slightly lower redline so that it would be a little bit more high-strung, was what Honda was going for with it, but I think that they pretty much nailed it for that sake. Oh my goodness, redline, freaking VTEC starts at 5,500, but it just picks up after about 6,200. We need to take this on a twisty road. Rush hour traffic is not a good time to drive this car. But, you know, as far as driving this thing in traffic goes, you would have no hard times doing it whatsoever. This car isn't modded, it's unmolested, it's just a perfect, pristine kind of vehicle. And the lightness of the clutch, you could drive this thing every single day and you'd have no hard times at all. As far as the soft top goes, it seems like it's in pretty good condition after, you know, almost 20 years. And, like, it doesn't block out a ton of sound, but for the vehicles that this car was competing against, this came out the same time as the NB Miata was rolling out, and then towards the later end of this production, this AP2 ran from 2004 through 2009 was the last year for it. So you're competing against the NB and NC Miata are really the only cars that kind of competed in this price point. And then, I mean, I guess also the Integra, but if you're looking for a convertible roadster, it was this or a Miata, and this is just a way more fun opportunity than a Miata. Maybe an Audi TT, I think those would have been right in that same kind of price point, but the only cars that have ever come close to this thing afterwards is like the Scion FRS, and that doesn't have the same caricature that this thing has. With, you know, the 2.4 liter Boxer is a great engine. It's 204 horsepower. The 5-speed manual or 5-speed automatic in that car is not the best, but it's good. The manual transmission's okay, but it feels a lot more fragile than this thing does. This feels like a proper sports car. It's not like you're just running through the gears. It feels like it's grabbing the gears as you're going through it, and the shift knob is just perfectly weighted. 10 out of 10. I'm going to cut to us on a nice little twisty road and show you what this thing can really do. Alright, this is where the S2000 really shines. Just diving into a corner, flat out. Nice little rotation, power, shift. Gosh, this car is phenomenal. And you just can feel exactly what's going on with it. It's just a great car. It's just a great car. If you guys liked this video, you should check out my video I did on the all-new BMW M2. This car is not the same as that. They're from different eras, but it's the only car that I've reviewed that could even come close to this in a modern idea. Manual transmission, 2 doors, lightweight roadster that's just freaking fun. Great power to weight ratio. It's just the way that it picks up once you hit, you know, right about that lovely like 59,000 or 5,900 RPM mark. 10 out of 10. God bless Honda. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I've had an absolute blast driving this car. If you guys did like this video, please make sure you subscribe, leave a like on it, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.